Oh, radiant starlight, become my blade!
Hello there, how's it going? Oh, that's cool. Is that Junji Ito one? Oh yeah, I mean, like, But yeah, that always does suck, regardless. I guess I'm not really too familiar with those works. I knew it was horror stuff. I assume that most of them die in it. Yeah. Oh, that's constant Borderland. I assume it's not like Borderland as in like the Borderlands franchise. But it's hard to say because like I've seen some funny manga that have like Spider-Man and Batman and something like that. Although I don't think Borderlands as a video game series is that popular, so I don't think it would pop up in Japanese manga. But that would be kind of interesting if it was an Alice in Wonderland like thing set in the Borderlands Pandora universe. But yeah, I mean, like Borderlands in and of itself is it's the land of like where the border is. But so it's like as a word, I can see it popping up just normally. Plus, like I'm kind of curious what the actual Japanese word is because obviously it's kind of like Battle Royale, except probably not as lethal. But yeah, they've done stuff like that. Like I remember reading Battle Royale ages ago. God, that was a fucking brutal one. Very, very detailed drawings of them all dying. Yeah, I think I had a phase like that too, where I was reading a bunch of those like game show type mangas, where it was like, oh yeah, it's a game show, but it's like lethal, that type of a thing. I remember it was the kind of thing where I was like doing all those like I was liking so it was like all those games of not necessarily games of chance, but it was like how you're using your skill and your wits to like survive in a deadly game while you do this or that. And it's that one, I can't remember the author's name, but his style is incredibly iconic. He does a lot of mahjong type comics as well. But Akagi, Akagi's the name of one of the series he did. I cannot remember the author's name for the life of me, but he has this really iconic drawing style, which is sometimes memed in other gag series, but yeah, it was about like the whole some of the things that had to some of them had to do with games of chance, but a lot of it was just like, oh, how is the main character going to outwit and outsmart everybody, or the people in this game to win. Sometimes sometimes it was lethal, like sometimes it was like, oh shit, like if you have to win to survive. Other times it's like you have to win for just shitloads of money. Like I think like one of them I think was like this dude was in a fuckload of debt, and he was like, oh, you're in a fuckload of debt? Cool. Well, you have to do this for money. And so it's like, yeah, it's not like it's not lethal in and of itself. Actually, some of the games might have been lethal. I can't remember the author's name for the life of me. But yeah, like there was a bunch of like, I think that guy really popularized that type of genre, because like after that you saw like a ton of authors doing doing their own kind of like game show-esque type manga, where it's like, oh yeah, like you're doing, like you have to fight against these, not necessarily fight, but yeah. Oh, it was nice chatting with you. Glad you're enjoying your manga. Hope you continue liking it. Oh shit, they found the trigger for it. Okay, so the trigger is it has to be the weather, and the fact that it spawned in so many instances simultaneously. Oh, god damn it. Are you fucking kidding me? I was still too close. I was at the border of it too, like Jesus. Luckily, yeah, typically you don't have to worry too much. Oh my god, he died as well. Typically you don't have to worry too much about it because if there's enough people, uh, god damn it. Oh, that's cool. That's so fucking annoying. You get these people who run in and they're like, oh, I'm going to run straight into the boss. Instantly die because they're not paying attention to the mechanics. It's brand fucking new. So rather than stay behind and res people, they're like, oh, I'm going to rush in. And I get it, right? Like, they're rushing in, tagging it. Even if they die, they still tagged it. But it is kind of annoying. You see all these people, like, rush in right above your dead body and be like, yeah, I'm not going to res you. I'm just going to... Finally, someone got me. Jesus Christ. And it was my own party. It's like, come on, dude. Like... Fucking targeting this game is such dog shit. It's like, I don't want to fucking target that guy. I want to fucking target the actual... Spine Fist should be fine to go in. Just make sure I tag him again, just in case. Also, when I tag him, it'll show his thingy. Okay. Once I see him, oh fuck, that's Jesus Christ, dude! Get the fuck out. Run away! Should be safe out here. Yeah, I'm just gonna chill in the back and not die. Yeah, we just figured out how to spawn this guy. It seems to be weather related, so we're all... And because it's weather related, and because the instances all reset at the same time, it's essentially every single server all had it pop at the same time. So it's like, ah. So that obviously sucks. Well, that doesn't really suck, actually. It's fine. It's whatever, right? But it's just a clusterfuck. Because typically we would have more people out and about doing shit. Like, more people helping out. So I don't need that for him. Oh, there you go. That one's dead. Now it's going to I2. So yeah, basically, because it's weather-based and not a specific condition, it essentially spawned in all three of our instances simultaneously. Well, not really simultaneously. It seemed to spawn in instance 1 for some reason first. And then appeared in the other ones. Oh my fucking god, just fucking do my fucking thing, Jesus Christ. Oh, of course I don't want to target the thing, humongous fucking mob. No. Oh shit. It's closer to me now. Oh yeah, I can't. I'll have to wait for that to finish. It's too risky. It's one of the things you have to stay super close to dodge, because the AoE on it is ridiculous. Well, that's actually not bad. What's the AoE like? Do it again. Do it one where it's one in front of you. Come on. Okay, so this is about the safe spot then. Yeah, okay, this is the safe spot. Cool. Now that I know his range. Cool. Now he's onto mechanics where not a huge problem. Yeah, so basically you need healers, you need rezzers, you need DPS obviously, but like the healers got to stand back. Like basically because this boss essentially one-shots you. Like if you get hit, now tanks could survive a hit, but it's like it's hard to say because like tanks would have to survive the hit, but also the healers would too. So the healer would have to be up and close and be able to heal. They would have to be, the healers would have to be up and close so that they could heal. Okay, so he's pretty much dead. There we go. Did he spawn any? No. Okay, that's a shame. Yeah, there is a random chance that these S ranks have a chance to spawn what we call a double S rank, or S plus, depending on what you want to do. But basically, when you kill an S rank, there is a small chance that it will spawn a. Bryn Hilder still up? Oh no, never mind, not dead. All of them are dead, pretty much. Maybe Corals is up? Nah, that's from 20 minutes ago. Yeah, let me just double check the. Let me double check the. No, okay, so all hunts are now dead in all servers. Well, not all hunts, but the hunts I care about. I do hunts on all instances. So in all expansions, I do hunts. So I have the all hunt mounts. So that means I got the Victor. So from getting, and essentially since Shadowbringers, they retroactively made a hunt mount for just to encapsulate all hunts to include their Stormblood, Heavensward, and Realm Reborn. Basically, by Stormblood, things that were on hunts have kind of like evened out, and Stormblood is when they introduced the hunt mount, and then in Shadowbringers they introduced a unique to Shadowbringers mount, which was the Triceratops. And if you did 2,000 A ranks and 1,000 2,000 A ranks and 1,000 S ranks from that expansion alone, you were able to get a. Here we go. From that expansion alone, you were able to get a mount, the Triceratops. And then when Endwalker came out, they introduced another mount, the Victor. Again, for the same thing, 1,000 S ranks and 2,000 A ranks from that expansion alone. So 2,000 A ranks within 2,000 A ranks from within that one area.
Make ready.
So yeah, it was. And so not surprisingly, they're also doing it for Dawn Trail, and so that's why I'm making sure I get my my shit in. I'm making sure I'm getting my hunts in. Now, A ranks are not super hard. People do A trains. A trains are super common. There's a lot of hunts. They spawn every 6 hours. Every server does them now, and there's so super easy to get A ranks, comparatively speaking. But the S ranks are far more annoying because one, they have spawn triggers, and two, the time between them is much fewer. I think my first run started much better. But anyway, cool. Now we know the spawn. Now we know the spawn conditions. So there were 2 new hunts also added with the 7.05 patch. There were 2 areas that did not have hunts release, and so we were able to get the condition for the first one pretty easily. And so we were all killing it yesterday. Pretty much, it was wiped out yesterday. because that's when the window for the hunts completed, because the patch reset them. So that was all resolved. So yeah, it's kind of... Oh shit, I forgot.
Make ready.
So yeah, but basically we hadn't actually figured out the spawn trigger for the one that just appeared. It had all the other ones were done before their window was guaranteed. Now, yeah, it created some variety in which server was popping which first, because it was still hunts still pop at a random chance. So it was still just like, oh hey, it popped on this instance, like, even within its own server. It popped on this instance first, even though everyone was doing the same conditions. This one popped first, so it's like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, that was pretty cool. So but basically, this one hunt from Urqopacha just would not spawn. Like, no one knew the spawning conditions were. Everyone was like, okay, well, is it this? Is it that? Hard to say. Obviously, people were suspecting it might be weather related because some of the hints mentioned weather and fog and stuff. So like, oh, maybe it has to do with fog, right? So, so people were suspecting something like that, but obviously we don't have any proof until it actually spawns. So people were trying tons of shit, didn't work. Hunt window got to 100%, which essentially means like it was so backed up that it essentially, like, its window pops, opens at 0%, and then when it gets 100%, essentially it waited an additional window for an initial like 15 or like additional like 24 hours or something like that, and by that point it becomes guaranteed. So now it's already hit that 100%, but with weather-related ones, it's kind of hard to tell, because like, did it hit its 100% because did it hit its 100% because we hadn't done the condition? So this was the weather was the hard cap. It was like, oh yeah. So I guess the question is it guaranteed to pop during the weather? Is it a random chance during a particular weather? If it's not, then it's like, do we have to do something during the weather? Or is it just a random chance when the weather appears? Or maybe is it guaranteed when the weather appears, and it's just like, yeah, the weather appeared, therefore it popped. Because there was because you think if it was just purely the weather, then why didn't it pop earlier, right? Like, why did instance 1 pop first, and then we all went to instance 2? That didn't pop. But then we went to instance 3, it was already spawned there, and then like a few seconds after that, instance 2 popped. So it's like, what's the condition for that shit, right? So yeah, so everyone was just like, okay, shit, is it weather-based? Do we have to do a condition while the weather is happening? Because like, there are some weather-based ones that are just like, nope. Or like some time of day, moon phase, weather-based ones that just pop whenever, right? Like the frog in middle Lanasca? Or no, lower Lanasca. Lower Lanasca has a variable one. Ah, shit, got hit. That one just pops. It's like, oh yeah. I think you actually have to walk over its spawn point. So maybe that was it. Maybe the instance 2 didn't pop because no one's walked over its spawn point, and then someone did. While most people just gave up, saying, oh, okay, it didn't pop, it didn't appear yet, so we left. It's possible that it was a spawn condition type thing. It was a you have to walk over its spawn location, and so the reason why it didn't pop in I2 is because we didn't walk over its spawn location, and while we were all heading to I3 to look for it, someone walked over at spawn condition, walked over at spawn point, and it popped. So if that's the case, then that's a pretty easy one. It's been a while since we had an easy one, because, like, well, you know, I guess there have been kind of easy ones, too. But, like, one that's automatic, right? Most... Actually, no, because, like, even Shaggles, even shows Shaggles as a... Not Shaggles, even though the Labyrinthos, Burly, Kamui one, even though he's, he is, time of day based, I believe. Or maybe he's weather, I forget. But either way, even though he is only spawns during a specific weather window, or a time window, he has a specific time-based condition triggered. You also have to have his minion. You have to have the Shaggles minion out over a spawn point, and that's what also triggers him. So, like, I don't think we did that for this dude. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of interesting that, yeah, he just spawns with nothing. So yeah, it is interesting. It is curious. I think people will then evaluate everything. Considering it popped in all instances almost simultaneously, I don't think there is an actual condition for it. Because most people didn't know what it was. So the fact that most people don't know what it was, but were still able to pop it, means that it's probably just walking over at spawn point during... From what they were saying, it seems like it's during fog and a new moon. Which kind of which kind of makes sense for the ambush perspective of it, because they're saying, oh, it's some sort of ambush, and they mentioned fog, so it's like, oh, okay, yes, in a new moon, obviously there's going to be very little visibility, perfect for an ambush, obviously, you know. So maybe that's.
Make ready. fighter. bring it to bear. Make ready.
Okay, so 22 minutes, a little like 21 minutes, 50 seconds, pretty good. I'm not sure if that's the best I've ever done. It's been a while, like, that's the problem. And now that my machinist is 93, I don't really want to do another trust dungeon with them. That's the kind of annoying thing, is that how I level up faster than they do. So like I need one more dungeon to level them up, right? But I'm already 93, so I'm already there. And it's because I'm eating my food and all that shit. It's just like I get, and I have rested experience, so I get it. And realistically, what I should just do is I should just level up another class alongside with it, which is not hard. Like as long as I'm doing so I level up this guy with trust, and then maybe run like a roulette or two, because I can easily get like 2 levels with doing all the roulettes. So like that's what I could do, is I could just say fuck it, I'll just do roulettes. I'll just run. I'll do my trust dungeon, and then like later in the day maybe run some roulettes on another similar DPS class. Like I'd probably do another one of my. That's the problem though, is that like Machinist is really good because they're good, and they have a lot of AOE's.
Those live streams that
Like they have a lot of AOE's that you just do naturally as part of your rotation, right? Like you have your checkmate, which is naturally an AOE. You have chainsaw, naturally an AOE. You have drill and bioblaster, but like it's AOE. It's an AOE alternative for a single target thing, so it's great. It comes off cooldown every 18 seconds. You have flamethrower, which is another. I don't know if it's a DPS loss. I'm not sure how many enemies there have to be for it not to be a DPS loss, but it's probably the same as like every other AOE abilities. As long as you have 3, as long as there's 3 or more enemies, it probably is worth it. And then the fact that they have auto crossbow. Now I'm actually curious which is actually better to do. Should I do auto crossbow or blazing shot. Like, I can get 5 auto crossbow shots, or I can get 5 blazing shots, but the cool thing about the blazing shot is it reduces the cooldown on checkmate and double check. So 2 blazing shots essentially gives me another charge of that. So is doing 2 single target things worth an extra checkmate and double check? Or is auto crossbow just better? Is it that, blazing shot doesn't add up? Like, let's see. Auto crossbow is a 140 potency shot, 220. So I get an additional 80. Wait, got ping? Should be a hunt available. Oh, that ping's another instance. Okay, cool. So this is an additional 80, but this is 140 against multiple enemies. So if it's like 5 enemies. So the question is then, how much potency do I get from double check? So this is... Oh shit. So this is now an AoE, which it wasn't before. And this is how it's always been an AoE. So they're both about the same potency. So the question is... So that one's 80 more potency. And so that'd be 160 more potency. 160 more potency for 2 hits. And then I would get an extra one of these for that. So it'd be 160 more potency. Each of these are an extra 160. So it'd be extra 480 potency. And then there's the 50%, so it's 80 potency for both of these for every other additional enemy hit. Which is, it's the additional enemy hit thing, which would be less. So this single target is still stronger than my auto crossbow. Single target is still stronger than that, but it's 140 for all enemies, where this is 160 for one enemy and 80 for all other enemies. So obviously, double check by itself does not override it. But the fact that I get both of these off GCD and a higher single target potency for this, but that's the problem. Is that I'm wasting. So it has additional 160, but because essentially what this 2 of these is 240 potency against one enemy. Or no, I mean 440 against one enemy. Whereas this, all I need to do is with 4 enemies, this is better. 4 enemies or more, this adds up to more. I have to have 4 enemies more. 3 enemies would just be 420, and this is 440. Yeah, so 3 enemies or more. 3 enemies is only 420 potency. And this 3, but 2. Oh no, yeah, that's for a single shot though. Actually, yeah, that's true. It's 3. If there's 3 enemies, it would be 420 against collectively all enemies of one shot, whereas that 480 is against both shots twice. So 2 shots of that against 3 enemies would be actually 800 and something. 420, so it would be 840 against 3 enemies total. And so 840, but then this is 440, but then you'd have to add another 3,000. You'd have to add, where was it? You'd have to add these bad boys in, so another 320 onto that 440, which would be 760, which is still slightly less. But then there's the extra damage for all additional enemies, which would... So I guess it is actually better for if there's 3 or less enemies, this is better. If it's 4, then you'd have to multiply 140 times 4 times 2. And it becomes more complicated because then I have to actually add in other potencies as well. It's kind of crazy how against 3 enemies, which is typically, if it's 3 enemies, you should do AoE abilities. The fact that because of how they changed checkmate and double check, it's actually not worth it to do that anymore. So it's like blazing shot is the only thing you should be doing. Unless there's 4 or more, but there's so few instances where there's 4 or more enemies. Although it's how you start. Like when huge packs of mobs, that's when you start with the auto crossbows, and then when it gets down to 3, do that. Okay, now I know. Knowing is half the battle. Okay, that's kind of interesting. An interesting thought experiment on on how that works. And I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. After I just sleep this shit. Yes. Could probably sell these for more, but I want to just leave me. Yeah, what's my decent looking at? It's not that. Yeah, Carpenter is obviously sucking. Well, no, Alchemist always sucks the most because there's so few things that are done by via alchemy. Okay, so I have a bunch in the 500s. It's pretty cool. Blacksmith armor is kind of tough to do because I don't make that much shit. Same for Carpenter. There's just so fewer things for Carpenter, and then blacksmith and armor. It's like, yeah, most armor is going to be leather or cloth. Most accessories are going to be, goldsmith stuff. So it's like, just generally going to level those quick easier. I could do it. I could do it intentionally, obviously. Like I could craft some. Like it's the kind of thing. If I'm ever achievement farming, like there's a bunch of achievements I need to do anyway for like various other shit. So at that point, I might be able to just go in and be like, fuck it, I'll just do, I might just go in and be like, oh, I'm going to craft a bunch of these things. Why are you selling perfectly good, high-quality ones for a super cheap price? It's so stupid of you. Oh, you beat my price? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, but thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.